It's time to get nerdy, y'all.
A little bit of gaming history for you.
Something relevant in gaming and discuss our opinions on it.
Should we kick it out of here, or should we kickstart it?
This is the part where you, the listeners, try to stump the hosts.
I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on a podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, lads and lasses of all ages, welcome to the show. It is Monday, May 25th, 2026, and you know what that means. It is time to get nerdy. Welcome to episode 379 of Two Nerds in a Pod, the nerdiest gaming podcast in the multiverse. I am one of your hosts, Mac, and I am joined by my friend in gaming commentary, not only the first option, but also the best option. You know him, Mr. Lamgaluka, also known as Mr. Nice Guy 425, and for the next hour, it is all about video games. History, trivia, lawsuits, everything in between as it relates to our favorite art form of video gaming. But first, Mr. Nice Guy, how you doing, dude?
Man, I'm good. I'm glad we got through some tech difficulties. We're like 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
And shout out to Discord for having updates that wouldn't update. But other than that, things are good, man. Had the day off today, did the typical thing I do on a holiday, which is barbecued, and just kept it super simple, man. Dogs and burgers today. And, you know, played outside, neighborhood stuff, dad stuff, suburban dad stuff. That's pretty much what it was today. How about you, man? What have you been into the past few days? What's new with you?
Oh, well, this weekend we did a thing. I've got family members who had birthdays conveniently located around this holiday weekend, and so we met in the middle, you know, had a good time, played frisbee golf, played tons, so many card and board games.
Nice.
Had just a fantastic time. Went and saw Project Hail Mary again in theaters, because there was a local theater that was running it. Just a terrific time. Got so much sort of, you know, I wouldn't call it like relaxation time, but, you know, so much like fun mutual activity time together with people that we see somewhat frequently, but nowhere near as much as we'd like to see each other.
100%.
So it was just a fantastic time. Good food, good people, good times, and that was kind of my weekend.
I guess one thing I forgot to mention, nothing as cool as what you did. I spent some time tinkering this weekend, which, I don't know, do you still tinker with your Steam Deck?
On rare occasion. Do you now have an clear atomic purple case?
No, I was tinkering with the AYN Thor this
Mm-hmm.
weekend and just trying to get it set up exactly how I'd like. Shout out to YouTuber Retro Game Core for having a really cool video on how to get it set up with some cool visuals and efficiencies. So that was part of my weekend. That was fun.
Nice.
Related to video games.
Yeah, no, and cool in its own right.
It is cool. And you know what, Mac? Being 15 minutes late, I say we do what we do best and we just hop right up in that news, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Dude, has anything big happened this week?
There's been a bunch of big stuff and a bunch of stuff that relates to ongoing themes of our little podcast, our mid-sized podcast. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, to Two Nerds in a Pod, Nerds Video Game Podcast in the Galaxy. Episode 379 is ago. Mac, let's start by talking about a crowdfunding project that has been going on for over a decade. This is on Eurogamer.net, and here is what it says. It's official. Oh, by the way, this is written by Vicky Blake. It's official. Star Citizen, Cloud Imperium Games multiplayer space sci-fi sim, has now topped 1 billion with a B in crowdfunding. The milestone popped earlier today courtesy of the 6.5 million players who have donated over £743 million since the game was announced in 2012. It remains in early access. CIG says that as a crowdfunding project, Star Citizen's scope is based directly on the support provided by our backers. Money pledged goes directly to the game's development. Mac, something interesting about this is, and the author says, as our friends at IGN pointed out, the milestone comes as the game launches a new $5,000 spaceship, the Anvil Odin Capital Ship, which is not even available yet. It went on sale as a limited vehicle concept pledge with no firm release date. Owners will get loaned Idris P until it's ready, and they had to write an essay to apply to get this ship as part of the pledge. Mac, this taps into so many themes that we discuss on the show: crowdfunding, early access, playable demo,
Essays.
We talk about writing and literacy a lot on the pod, right?
Absolutely. It's a dying skill.
It is a dying skill, man. what do you think about this, man? $1 billion since 2012. Game is still in early access.
I have never played Star Citizen, and so I mean this from the depths of my heart, as I love all of our fellow gamers. A fool and his gold are soon parted.
Oh, so what are you saying here? You're saying
$5,000 on a pre-order of anything is wild and ridiculous. I don't want to believe that this has sold, that they successfully sold a single ship that is not ready for release. And writing an essay, I am very sorry. And I know that this has been in early access for ages, but I don't understand. Some people must be satisfied with this, unless this is some sort of a, like what we're having with the various, companies just investing in each other over and over again, whatever it is we call that. I don't know. Or we have those situations like on a crowdfunding project when the $10,000 tier is bought by somebody's mom or somebody themselves. I don't get it. Nice guy, I need your help to understand.
Well,
this.
so here's my thing. The game, as far as I can see it, and I've watched someone play this game before, it's very much in a playable state. It's not like it's broken. There is a community. At this point, 6.5 million have pledged to play. So it's out there. My thing is, once this game comes out of early access, what is going to be the difference between what we have now or what they have now and what they will have when they say, hey, now the game is coming out? A lot of times when we play test a game, like I was play testing for a Loop a couple weeks ago with some friends, the game is buggy. Yeah. The game is broken in some ways. The graphics aren't there. There's all this stuff on the screen that says like pre-alpha build and all these letters. So when that game comes out, it'll be polished, it'll be clean. I will know that it's worth my $60 or $70. With Star Citizen, the game has a community and is being played. So I don't know what the difference is going to be. Here's the positive, and this will make more sense when we talk about our second story or when we talk about a story later in the show. I almost like the idea of developers putting effort into a game as the result of obligation that comes from money. We talk about stop killing games a lot. If they constantly have an income stream coming in and they say the only way you're going to be able to play this game for 5 more years, for 10 more years, is if you continue to pledge, then people pledge and then they get the game. But if we reach a point where there's a DLC every 6 months or every 3 months and there's no subscription fee and it's kind of like, well, we hope you buy the microtransactions, devs get fed up and it's not as sustainable. I think this business model is actually sustainable even though I don't like it.
Interesting.
Does that make sense the way that I explained that?
Yeah, no, I think it makes total sense the way that you've explained it. I'm just thinking about it. I don't know, dude. I mean, on the one hand, and I think the most important thing is that people are able to experience something. If this is how they get there, I guess more power to them. But I don't know. I don't feel like this is the future of video game support that I think I like to see. I think it verges very much, for me at least, and again, I haven't watched any videos. I haven't played it. I'm just going off of what I've heard. But it sounds very similar to the concept of paying to win.
Yeah, fair.
What on earth is a $5,000 battle cruiser if not an edge in a big way?
And to be clear, my take is less on the battle cruiser, more on the fact that since 2012, people have been playing this game in early access and pledging money. I think the $5,000 ship is a newer thing.
Well, I'm actually given to understand, and I could be wrong, that the pledging, the paying money for ships has been a thing for a large chunk of its history. Could be wrong.
Oh, okay.
Could be wrong.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess stuff is worth what the market says it's worth. I don't want this to become a widespread way of making games, but I think the fact that they've been able to maintain it for, 14, 13 years says something about their community and the fact that they're putting out something that's worth it. So we'll see.
Dedication
on both the players and the devs. So let's keep things moving. We got a new Unreal Engine coming out, Mac. This is on IGN.com, written by...
What are we up to now, 7?
We're up to 6. This is Unreal Engine 6, and this is written by Michael Kripe and Michael Payton. It says Epic Games developer Psyonix has published a sneak peek at an updated version of Rocket League running on Unreal Engine 6, revealing a first look at its new logo. The new coat of paint was revealed today as the Rocket League Championship Series Paris Major. It comes with the reveal trailer for the updated version of the studio's popular action sports game, as well as a first look at Epic's new purple logo for Unreal Engine 6. Mac, it doesn't really discuss the features, but my question for you, and I know you play some old stuff, you play some new stuff, you play some red stuff, you play some blue stuff.
Something borrowed, something blue.
Yeah, man. All of that in terms of games. There was a time where new graphics were super exciting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like we're lacking in any way in either graphics or mechanics when it comes to gameplay? And I'll give you a quick example.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, Splinter Cell implemented a thing called ragdoll physics. That was brand new. So when you dragged the body, it was very realistic. It was like you were dragging a ragdoll as opposed to dragging a piece of cardboard. And it added so much immersion to the game. It was a super cool concept as part of an engine. So do you think we're missing anything like that in our current games, graphically or mechanically, that would make them go to the next level?
So, there's a lot of stuff I know I don't know. And even more stuff beyond what I know I don't know that I don't know that I don't know, right? That being the caveat just thrown down there. I struggle to see mechanics that we are lacking, particularly because of the way that we currently interface with games. I think that there is still room for growth, but a lot of that growth, I feel like, comes from the new innovations that hopefully come through the interface. The run-of-the-mill controllers that we use for almost any and all games. Controllers, mouse and keyboard, things like that.
Got it.
I think there's a lot of room for improvement, especially in the VR sphere. And a lot of places for better and more intuitive, interactions there. And I would love to see and hope that this leverages the technology in a way to really improve that, because I think that's the frontier where the exploration is going to produce the best results. So I hope that for whatever Unreal 6 can do, I hope they're able to use it effectively in VR, because I think that's where the meat is, But I don't see that much improvement being made in graphics and in controls and in mechanics in just the 2D things with a dual analog control and maybe some haptic feedback in a controller. Not that that's a bad thing, but just that I have trouble seeing how we're going to really do more with that.
Yeah, I think you're like 100% correct there. Like, until we get a new type of TV, right? Like a new type of monitor, or more processing power that allows games to be even more realistic or have even more pixels than they already do. I don't know what Unreal Engine 6 is going to add. Now, granted, they didn't talk about the features, right? So, if they say, hey, there's some type of AI upscaling or something, I'll say, oh, that's not even that exciting to me. But I think that what you say is a valid point. And I think about the fact that Forza Horizon 6 just came out, or Forza 6 just came out for Xbox. And I've seen videos on the internet of people using these racing rigs as peripherals that add some immersion to the game.
Yeah.
And they sit down and they have a wheel in their hand and they have pedals, and it makes it way more immersive. And so I agree. I think that the way that we interact with games is where the improvement will come, rather than, hey, we just went from Super Nintendo to N64 and this is amazing. Like, I feel like we've really passed that a long time ago.
I agree with the you who agrees with me.
We're scanning people's faces. How much more realistic can we get in terms of movement and in terms of graphics? Other than the Oasis in VR, like you said, like some type of Ready Player One type of stuff. I just don't know what else we could really do. So, cool, man. You know what? There's more news, but let's just keep things moving, man. We got some big stuff to talk about at the end of the show.
Indeed.
That's been our news for the week.
All right, well, let's take a little look into the past, some oldies but goodies that have come out this last couple of weeks in years before. And nice guy, I want to end on the one that I know we both love the most from this list. I'll start with the one that's probably farthest from our hearts, a little one title released in 2000 for the PS1 called Vagrant Story. This one, I really like it. I liked it. It was one of those weird PS1 games, Mr. Nice Guy, that really like took a big swing and kind of hit, kind of missed. There was this weird sort of aspected system. It was a JRPG where, you happen to be a mercenary who's going after, some people, the way mercenaries do,
Sure.
But they had this very interesting system of real-time 3D rendering and real-time movement that would wind up slowing down to turn-based when you got into battle. But you didn't, go into a different field. You didn't, go to the battlefield. It was all rendered in-engine, which, is the type of thing that was a little bit less trod ground back in those days. But then this added complexity that the weapons and armor that you had and used all had these various aspects that you had to balance while you were in combat, trying to make sure you were using the best weapons and practicing and leveling things up. So it was more than just solid tactics, but with your attacks, but with the very equipment you had, which added a lot of complexity that a lot of people did not like. It is not a very well-regarded game. However, it occurred in the same universe as one of my favorite games, Final Fantasy Tactics. And so it was very much a natural thing that I played, and I kind of grew to love its weird nuances. And maybe that's Stockholm Syndrome after I was 20 hours in, that I had to love it or I was gonna go crazy. But nonetheless, Vagrant Story I think is something that tried to do a lot, and I think in a lot of ways succeeded, but I feel like people weren't quite ready for it at the time. And I think it's looked on a little kinder in the years afterward, as we can recognize what they were trying to do and later games that would do it a lot better. Popping right along, released in, this can't be right, 2021 on the PC, a little game called Terraria. For those of you who enjoy a crafty survival game but want it to be 2D, Terraria has your number. Nice Guy, ever played?
Yeah, I've played some Terraria.
Of course.
Diving to the depths of the universe.
And how?
Fighting some monsters. Mm-hmm. Getting some jewels and some loot. It was a good game. I haven't played a ton of it, but I have played it.
Yeah, Skeletor boss. A lot of fun little things. The occasional crossover with Minecraft and other games in that sort of general sphere. Good one. Well worth a try if you haven't. But Mr. Nice Guy, the thing that we know and love, and we've played it, we appreciate it, released in 2001 for the Game Boy Color, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons.
Phenomenal games. I have a hard copy of Ages. I need to get a hard copy of Seasons. As someone who, one of my favorite Zeldas is Link's Awakening, it was super cool to get a Capcom-made duo of games in that same graphical style and kind of in that same universe. And Mac, I believe, and I've never done it, but there's like a Easter egg or a secret where you can kind of connect the games almost with a code to unlock some extra dungeons once you complete them. So that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Fairly long in the development process of Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, there was supposed to be a third one. Of course, obviously, a Triforce game on the Game Boys.
Sure.
Obviously, you
Trilogy.
gotta have three. They did cut it late in the development just because they were running behind, but the general idea was that these codes that you got from Ages and Seasons were going to influence a lot of stuff in the final game as well. So you would plug in your code from Ages, you'd plug in your code from Seasons, and then you would play through the third one. There are still some design documents that, as I understand, are under lock and key, or at the very least, they haven't seen fit to release, so we don't know a lot of stuff, but we do know that up until very late in the development, there was a third one. Could it have been amazing? Absolutely. Could it have been trash? I mean, possible, but given how cool Oracle of Ages and Seasons are, I mean, hard not to think that it was going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'm sad for the future that we did not get to see for that. But who knows? Maybe they'll pull a Star Fox 2 at some point in time in the near future, and we'll get something.
We'll get it somehow.
Difficult to say. But love that game. Think they're fantastic. Everybody should try it. And there are so very few excuses these days to not have a small pocket thing with a ROM file on it, maybe for Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Just to try it out. Just to try it out. Nice guy, can you get Ages and Seasons on your Switch? Can you get it legit?
That's a good question. I don't think it's a part of the Game Boy games on Switch Online yet, but there's certainly ways of enjoying it.
Sure, yeah. And maybe there will be a Nintendo-sanctioned way of enjoying it sometime in the future, if not now.
100%. You know what? They're popular enough. If it's not already, I'd imagine that it's in the near future.
Well, we can hope for that. But when it comes up, just so you guys know, keep an eye out for it. But that's what I had for history for us today.
Nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our topic of the week, where we discuss something relevant in gaming and give our opinions on it. If you're here live or listening after the fact, please hit us up. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Mac, this is on IGN.com, and this news broke like a day or two after last week's episode would have been. This is on IGN.com, written by Wesley Inpool. Bungie has announced the end of content updates for live service shooter Destiny 2, nearly 9 years after launch. The studio behind Halo, which recently released extraction shooter Marathon, said it will release the final content update for Destiny 2 on June 9th, 2026. Destiny 2 will remain playable despite active development ending. Bungie issued the following statement on social media day. For almost 12 years, we have had the joy and honor to explore the Destiny universe with you all. Through all the ups and downs, surprises and triumphs, building Destiny alongside our players has been a monumental privilege. While our love for Destiny 2 has not changed, it has become clear that after the final shape, which is the name of the DLC, we have reached the time for our shared worlds and Destiny to live beyond Destiny 2. It goes on. I will not read this whole quote, but Mac, given what we just talked about with Star Citizen, given the fact that Destiny 2 is one of the most prevalent live service games, and now they're moving on, what do you think, number one, for people that have developed, or rather put a lot of time into this, and number two, what do you think about the future of something like this once DLC stops coming out? Two questions for you there, sir.
So, nice guy, I don't know a lot about Destiny 2. I know precious little about Destiny 2, but I will say, for anybody who really loves Destiny 2, and I am sure that there are many of you out there, my absolute condolences. I press F in the chat for you currently. Because, this has got to hurt. I think about the games that I love the most, and thankfully none of mine are likely to be impacted by this. But someday, this is coming for me and for all of us, sadly. But yeah, I feel real sad for you, and I'm sorry. Now, as to your second question, which was,
what do you think about the future of this? Like, feasible that they really keep it playable, as they say they're going to do? And I'll give you a little bit more information, because more has come out since this story was written. They are laying off many people as a result of this game stopping. We talked about how Marathon came out. It is an extraction shooter rather than being a looter shooter made by Bungie. And so maybe they're shifting focus to that. And then the third thing is there is no plan for Destiny 3. So that's like kind of all the stuff we've heard since this story broke.
So one of the things that you've heard since then is that that Destiny 2 will still be playable?
They've said that their plan is to make it continue to be playable as they have with the original Destiny, but they will not have content coming out anymore, which to me was one of the major draws.
Being able to revisit it, even if it's not actively getting new content, is certainly nice to be able to do a trip. I mean, as a matter of fact, nice guy, for most of video game history, not having an update in the game was like, that was it. Getting updates to a game, getting DLC, getting new content is a relatively new phenomenon.
That's true.
Just the past 10 plus years. And so that's absolutely fantastic. I completely misunderstood what the nature of the shutdown was, but I'm glad to hear that it'll be at least playable. Maybe I can possibly pick it up at some point in time now and give it a shot.
You could literally go through all of the content.
Yeah.
At your own pace. Yeah.
No, that seems like a quite bright future to me. I would love to see if that's the commitment. I would love to see that being an option exercised for any and all games. I hope that this is Bungie putting in the work, showing people that it's possible to do something even for a big looter shooter like this. Because I would love to see more people adopt that. Hey guys, no new content, but we're not gonna lock you out.
I think the challenge is this is both a PvP and a PvE game, right? Mm-hmm. And the draw was that, hey, even though we may not know when the next content is coming, we know that it's coming at some point, right? Think about like a World of Warcraft. I don't think people play that over and over just because they really like it. I think they play it over and over because they like it, but also because they know that there will be more stuff coming out. Just to give a quick example, this community, those who still play Destiny 2, very hardcore. Mm-hmm. I had a friend a few years ago, a casual friend. We were talking about video games. He said he plays Destiny 2. At the time, I was still playing it. I said, let's play sometime. I got some friends I play with casually, but I'm not in a clan or anything. I sent him a friend request. He never accepted it. We never ended up playing. And that's fine. That's fine. The reason why, Mac, is he had a group of 3 guys that he already played with. And the 4 of them were doing the raids. And that relationship probably dated back to Destiny the original. And to bring in another person who is a little bit more casual and not part of those memories, it just wasn't going to work. And I was totally fine with that. I totally got it. I have groups where I'm
Listen up, dude. You don't know what you've missed out on by not incorporating Mr. Nice Guy into your raid crew. That's okay. I'll keep him, but you messed up.
No, he was right. He was 100% right. There's video game groups that are very, very tight-knit and private, right? I have people who I play games with, and if someone else wanted to play, it'd be fine, but it'd be different, right? It'd be I don't know if I can joke around with you the way I can joke around with these other people. We don't have the memories of the time that one thing happened. It's just different. And all that is to say, Mac, this is a very, very hardcore community. And they've built in this shared world going back not just 9 years to Destiny 2, but often back to Destiny 1. So I really feel for the fact that they're not getting new content. And I think that 5-10 years from now, this actually gets shut down completely, which sucks.
You think so?
I think so, Mac. And just one last question.
Yeah.
Do you think a Star Citizen format could have saved this? Because that's part of why I chose that other story is maybe if there was constant funding coming in, even though it's Bungie, there would have been an obligation to keep this going on even longer. I think.
Counterpoint, I don't think there is an obligation for whether real or even imagined, for a company to keep a game going even if they're selling copies and it's only been half a month. So I don't know as continued cash infusion would really necessarily do the trick. I think one of the things that the Entertainment Software Association has said about games, for example, I think it was only about 9 months back ago or so, there was a big back and forth between the Game Software Association and the Patent Office. And what was being asked by a lot of the public, a lot of libraries and such, was asking for specific exemptions in copyright so that if you were making a game playable, supporting it as a sort of archival thing or for research purposes or things like that, to make that a specific carve out into copyright law. And the ESA said no, not even just if it was only research scientists, we would still say no. to allow any sort of circumvention around when we say no more games will constitute an absolute injury to us and our ability to sell new games. And I'm sure that's not the position of everybody, but that was the position that they took in front of the Copyright Office. Maybe that's because that was the most compelling argument in front of the copyright people, was to be like, hey, to let this happen, to let this carve out means we're going to miss out on money. So what I'm getting at is that, like, I think there is a lot of evidence to suggest that game publishers see older games as a threat to the new games they want to push. So I think not only do we have cases of people like shutting down a game when it's just like, oh, it doesn't quite hit expectations, so we'll shut it down like Concord, or we have a situation like where they're like, we probably wouldn't let you keep buying this or keep funding in to keep it on life support because we want to move everybody to Marathon.
Right.
You know,
right.
I think that's the general vibes I just get based off of what they say when you really pin them down and say, hey, what about just this? Just this. So, I mean, I hope that Bungie... You know, I hope you're wrong, nice guy. I hope you're wrong, and that Bungie keeps it going for more than 5 years. But I can hear what you're saying, that it might very well be the case.
It's tough, man, and I'll leave with this. End with this. There are people who still play the oldest of Call of Duties, right? If you hop on Black Ops 1, which I do occasionally, there's still people playing that game from 2010 on Xbox 360, and they're playing zombies and they're doing team deathmatch, and it's great. Mm-hmm. At the time Destiny came out, Bungie was very much more beloved, I would say, than they are now. Not to say they're not beloved now, but let's keep in mind what was going on. They had just lost Halo to Microsoft based on a contract that they had signed that was a 10-year deal, and then Halo went to 343 Studios. So the gaming industry was like very empathetic towards Bungie and saying, hey, what are you guys going to come out with next? Like, we're really wanting to support you, and we're really wanting something good from the founders of Halo. And they got that. We got that in Destiny. So I don't think Marathon is now coming out in that same type of time, but it'll be interesting to see if that's their goal, is to move everyone over. Mac, that's what I got. Anything else before we move on?
No, thanks for bringing it to my attention. And here's to hoping people still get to play it for as long as possible.
It's been our news for the week.
Well, Mr. Nice Guy, now we turn to a crowdfunding project that's trying to get off the ground. You know we call this Kick or Kick Start, and I've got a question for you, Nice Guy.
What's that?
Racing or co-op open world?
It's tough, man. I think I'd have to go with co-op open world for sure. We're talking about Destiny right now, so let's stick with it.
All right, so what I've got for you is a game coming out of Finland called Taival, I believe. I should have listened to it a couple more times before I started talking. But Taival, a handcrafted co-op adventure RPG. Now, you should be getting a vibe from the initial looks at this as a sort of, I believe it's called Cube World? Or was it Cube Dice? Point being is it's very voxel based. Everything is made out of cubes in this. And this is meant to be a 1 to 4 player co-op RPG in a open world. It has a sort of vibe that these guys in Finland, a team of 4 who's putting it together, said that they were going for, and I believe they referenced some very specific Finnish what we call folklore for these creatures that used to keep the world in balance, but they've all gone away except for one that you and presumably your crew find, and you take them through the world to, help bring the world back into balance, the way it's supposed to be.
Sure.
Like I said, cubes running around. Everything is made out of a collection of cubes, from the trees, from the weapons, to the characters, and so on. And you also get to make use of your companion that you picked up, this spirit, as it changes into various forms based on other creatures. So a little bit, a dash, just a splash of Pokemon-ish even though you yourself are battling right alongside them. Now, we've got a couple of things here. They are expecting to deliver on the game in July of this year. And if you're interested in what you're seeing based on the link there, your minimum buy-in is $24, which is about 20 euros. Again, Finland, so we're getting them in euros. Now, there are some interesting other things about this, the team, the status, the amounts being asked for. But Mr. Nice Guy, I wanted to pitch it to you. Anything stand out of particular interest on this project?
Yeah, I mean, it stands out that they only wanted $2,700. Or actually, no, they only wanted $1 to get this thing kickstarted. And they've raised $2,700. So congratulations, I guess, right? I say that with all sincerity. I mean, I like the vibe. You know, my kids and I had a good time playing Minecraft Dungeons a few years ago.
Yes.
And that was a similar... Did you ever try that game?
I did not, but I saw some people playing it, and I feel silly for not having had that name leap to mind.
No, you're good. So we had fun playing that. Co-op, exact same type of graphics, maybe a little bit less open world and a little bit more controlled in terms of the environment. This is tough, man. It looks great. I'll have to hear your thoughts on the playable demo if there is one, because simply based on the price point, this seems like a grift to me. It seems like almost scammy, and that drives me nuts.
So, on the subject of playable demo, they say it in the video, and I know, to save everybody's ears, you're not playing it with sound, but they also have it listed in the thing that the development status is that a lot of the things are fully functional. The online and local co-op, which is something that I always like to see, is fully functional. Some things, some quality of life
The
features.
online is functional?
Yeah. Both online and local co-op.
That's awesome.
Now, they also had, I believe earlier this month, they had a sort of open alpha, open beta that they said that they had a few thousand people stress test the stuff that they were doing, which seems pretty good. They talk about, the core gameplay loop, the progression systems, the world building. A lot of these things are already fully functional, and they're working on just a little bit here and there, which is all the more frustrating when it's just like, oh, so all these things are functional. Why can't I play it? Where can I play it? And that is never actually addressed anywhere in the Kickstarter. If there is a playable demo, it does not seem to be linked anywhere. Going to the Steam page to wishlist this thing, which normally you might see something like, oh, demo on it. Sometimes people aren't very good at communicating that, language barriers, so on. I went there, no option to grab the game or the demo or try it out. So I am not sure if I'm just being a Dunsky, but it doesn't look like. It looks like maybe if there was one, it was open for a period of time, but now isn't. I do not know, and I'm struggling to find the answers to that question. Because, as Nice Guy says, if there is any question about, whether this is legit or not, getting a chance to try it out really puts those kinds of thoughts to rest.
Yeah, and once again, when I say something seems like it's a grift or seems like it's a scam, I don't actually mean that their intent is to scam people. Sometimes it's as simple as they don't have the expertise, they don't have the skill set to really get this across the finish line, right? And that's what I think this is. Like, people have obviously put enough time and energy to get this up online, and to make the co-op playable pre-release. But do they have the ability, and will they have the resources with a $1 pledge point goal to actually have the game come out?
Yeah. And I mean, congratulations on exceeding your $1 goal. However, you haven't quite hit 3,000, and that is not enough to do the development that you need with a team of 4. Not enough to do what you need with a team of 1, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, spoiler alert, for me, this is a kick. I don't know if you feel differently, but that's where I'm
No, I feel the same. Yeah, this is a kick for me as well. I would love to say kickstart, but at the end of the day, let's just be real. I always need just a little something extra, and that little something extra is the playable demo, and I can't find it. And at some point in time, I might be dumb, I might be thick, but like if I can't find it, then that's... Come on. Big neon sign for Dumbski Mac here. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. We wish them the best, hopefully good things, but this is a pass for us.
Good luck to them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep things moving. Now it is time for Kick or Kickstart. You guys know how this works. If you're here live, you have a job to do. Put your multiple choice gaming related questions in the chat. Mac and I will use nothing but our noggins to try and answer. Mac, do we have a sound test this week as well?
We absolutely do. We got to say goodbye to the sound test from episode what are we talking about? Episode 339. And we say hello to a new one now. So we've got that rotating cycle of 10 ready to go at any given point in time. Mr. Nice Guy, do you want to take a last crack at 339?
Yeah, let me play these and try to do them real quick. Just a second. Try to guess them. Okay, so 339 going first.
Don't touch the bomb.
Oh, don't touch the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't sound like something super retro like NES. It sounds like something when we were using voice actors and actresses. So like maybe Xbox 360 or newer. Trying to think of a game where it would say something like that. I'm going to go with like a siphon filter. I have no idea, but it sounds like it could be something from that era.
Excellent guess. This is from Beat Saber.
Interesting. Are there bombs in Beat Saber?
Yeah, there are, and you're not supposed to touch them.
Apparently.
The last one, so that one, you know it now, no longer up for grabs, but this is the new mystery sound for episode 379, so this one is up for grabs.
379, here we go. Ooh, that's a good one.
Well, good luck to y'all.
I will not guess. I actually think I know what that is.
I think you do as
well. I 100% know what it is, but I'm not going to say. Let's keep things moving with some questions from the test bank. And Mac, if you can watch the chat, if anyone puts a question in, please let me know.
Absolutely.
So first question from a test bank of several hundred questions that we have. This should be easy, but I don't know the answer. This is a Sega question. Where does the name Sega come from? That's the first question of the day, Mac. Where does the name Sega come from? I actually don't know.
Oh gosh, I knew this once upon a time. It's like an acronym. It's like a shortened for service games.
Interesting.
Or I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's service games. There might be one more in there, but I think it is SEGA service games. I was
just listening to something where someone was saying the audio on the Sega consoles during the intro was hated by the employees at first, but became so iconic.
Yeah.
Not related to this question, but I just heard that this week. Let's go with your answer, service games. Let's see if that is what it is. Okay, so close enough. Service gaming.
Service gaming.
SE for service, GA for gaming. Interesting. Not live as service because it was before that, but service gaming. All right, question number 2. Okay, it's a Final Fantasy question that I don't know the answer to. Mac, I'm going to rely on you again if you know this.
Okay, we'll see.
Who is Bobby Corwin? That is the question. Who is Bobby Corwin, Final Fantasy? Very specific question. You'd have to be a hardcore Final Fantasy fan, I feel like, to know that.
I'll say Bobby Corwin is the alter ego of Mr. Cloud Strife.
I'm going to guess Bobby Corwin is someone who is related to the development of Final Fantasy rather than an in-game character. That's going to be my guess.
Okay.
Final Fantasy related. Let's see what the
guess.
answer is. Nope, I was completely wrong. Bobby Corwin is the Chocobo of Black Mage Village.
Oh.
That, once again, very specific.
Good old Bobby the Chocobo.
Yeah, good old Bobby the Chocobo. First-person shooter. Question. From which game would you hear the line, "The devil is real. I know. I built his cage"?
I'm going to guess...
From which first-person shooter game would you hear that?
I'm going to guess something like... Maybe like Overwatch?
It's a good question or a good guess. I'm gonna go. I think it's something like more gritty, like maybe like a Duke Nukem.
Ooh, like Doom?
Doom or a Duke Nukem or one of those boomer shooters, because that sounds like kind of a corny.
Yeah.
Like the devil's real. I built his case. Something like that. I'm actually gonna guess. My official guess is actually gonna be Bulletstorm.
Okay, and my official guess will be Doom.
Okay, let's see what the answer is. Dude, it's actually Doom 3. But hey, we talked through that, and we figured boomer shooter, something like that.
Yeah.
So hey, I'll give us a point for that. Let's keep things moving. That has been our Nerd Flex for the week.
All right, well, now we turn to a little bit of legalese.
Legalese.
As you know, we are not lawyers, but we are interested in the law because, my gosh, it impacts how we play our video games. And if you listened to the short episode that we put up last week, there were some claims made by the Entertainment Software Association about this new law that was being proposed for California Assembly Bill 1921 about video games. And they said a lot of things about what it says, what it does, what it will do. And so we wanted to go through it with you. We're going to go through it because I think what they said about it and what it actually says, there might be some daylight in between those things. So, Nice Guy, we've got 3 big components of this. We've got the summary.
Sure.
Which I think we can probably skip over. Maybe we do the last paragraph at the very end. We could probably skip the definitions, I think, and just go for, would you like me to read or go back and forth?
We can go back and forth, but I'm trying to find the spot you're talking about.
Sweet.
So let's have you start.
A, the following shall apply only to a digital game available for purchase on or after January 1st, 2027. 1A. 60 days before a digital game operator ceases to provide services necessary for the ordinary use of the digital game, the operator shall communicate all of the following information to the purchasers and prospective purchasers of the digital game. The date on which services are necessary for the ordinary use of the digital game will cease. Any game features that will no longer be available to the purchaser. Any services that will no longer be provided by the operator. Sorry, I got 2 and 3 flipped there. On to number 4. Any known security risks that may result from cessation of services. And how the purchaser can continue to use the digital game or obtain a refund pursuant to paragraph 2. Paragraph 2's coming up next. Would you take over from B?
This is interesting. I already have thoughts, but let's just read it first. A digital game.
Well, we can stop and do more and do thoughts if you'd like.
Yeah. So I mean, here's where this gets a little bit undefined for me. What is a digital game? I know there's definitions, but what if there's a game that I've purchased in physical format? Mm-hmm. But the reality is that my ability to play it is going to be based on things like online servers, things that are digital, and I have a physical copy, right?
Great question. Maybe we should have started with the definitions, but in the definitions, they do say digital game basically means any game that you use a computer or whatever to do. So it would be all video games, rather than like what we would initially think for purposes of just like chatting about games, the ones that we have physical versus digital copies. They just mean any of the video games because they're all digital.
Cool. So B says, a digital game operator shall communicate the information required by subparagraph A by doing both of the following. Notifying purchasers directly through the operator's digital game. That's 1. 2, posting the information publicly on the operator's internet website. Once again, I think we're assuming that they have one, right? What if some small indie company doesn't have one? That's where some of this stuff gets sticky. Should I continue?
Yeah, please do. Now, 2, this is the one where it was like, hey, you got to offer refunds or let them know how they can keep using it pursuant to paragraph 2. So here comes paragraph 2, Mr. Nice Guy.
Got it. Beginning on the date a digital game operator ceases to provide services necessary for the ordinary use of the digital game, the operator shall provide the purchaser with one or more of the following. A version of the digital game that can be used by the purchaser independent of services controlled by the operator. That's super interesting. B, a patch or update to the purchaser's version of the digital game that enables its continued use independent of services controlled by the operator. C, a refund in an amount equal to the full purchase price paid for the digital game by the purchaser.
Okay, so we'll stop there for a second because one of the big things that they say with this whole framework is, hey, if you're going to stop supporting the game, you need to either give everybody a copy that doesn't require that connectivity and will still work without your servers, patch the stuff so that it will allow people to use it without your servers, or offer them a refund for what you paid for it.
So we kind of have to dive in here. Because
Yes, we do.
one of the games that Ross Scott, who has been on our show and is in charge of Stop Killing Games, talked about is The Crew, which I believe was a free-to-play game. And correct me if I'm wrong.
It was sold, but they did later on, I believe it went free to play later on, but it
Correct.
was for the majority of its thing, it was purchased,
Yeah. So, I mean, if I obtained that game for free and then it's no longer available to play, one of the options is that they have to compensate me for the amount that I paid. And if it was free to play, then they owe me nothing, right?
Yeah, it would be what you paid for it, yeah.
Okay, so they would owe me nothing had I gotten it for free, which once again, I feel like kind of causes some dilemma. Number one, because you're compensating half the community and not the other half, right? Also, what does it mean to pay for a game? Are we talking about to play the game?
Whoa, nice guy, are you suggesting that we give people money for something they never paid for? I didn't take you for comrade nice guy here.
I'm not suggesting that, but I feel like the whole point of this initiative is to preserve games, right?
Exactly, which is why you got 3 options. Refunds, just one of them.
Right, but so once again, this is maybe a whole nother pod, but
Yeah.
the goal of this in my mind is to make gamers whole, because to me there's more that goes into a game than simply the purchase. We talked about the community of Destiny. We even talked about things like microtransactions or different things that are purchased that are not necessarily a part of the purchase price of the game. A $5,000 ship, for example.
Yeah.
If Star Citizen goes down, are you refunding me what I paid for the game? Or are you refunding me what I paid for that $5,000 ship? This gets very sticky. That's my point.
4K no lost dose. 4K no lost dose.
Yeah.
Because
who
I
knows?
think both. Well, I will say, I think I really like the idea that your options are, you give me something I can play on my own, you patch it so that I can play it without your servers, which should be the B option. If it's something that has to have a server, you give me a way so that I can make it work with a server that we run. We've seen people do that in a lot of communities in the past without publisher support, them having to figure it out on their own.
Sure.
It will be incredible if publishers had to say, I'm not going to sell this game anymore. I'm not going to support it anymore. You guys can go from there with all the whatever is there, or, give a refund. And I really don't think that the idea is that publishers will honestly go for item C refunding. I think that's the stick, and the carrot is the, patch it or make it so that they can keep playing it, so that the stick of having to refund it isn't the option. Make the gamers whole by letting them still do it. I like the idea. We'll see if it works out in practice, but I like the idea of giving a game company the options of doing right by the customer in 3 ways, and maybe there's more ways for them to do right by the customer. But I like that there are options that really are there. I know we skipped over a whole bunch of stuff in order to just read things. Nice guy, did you have more you want to say about this, or should I start with number 3?
No, that was it, man. Once again, a whole nother pod episode. That's it for now.
A whole nother pod. Yeah, there's, as with anything, y'all, as soon as you try to truncate things, you're going to lose important context. We could practically not even squeeze it into 1 hour pod, I don't think. But let me hit number 3, just for the interest of putting it out there. 3, beginning on the date a digital game operator ceases to provide services necessary for the ordinary use of the digital game, the operator shall not sell, lease, or otherwise distribute a version of the game that cannot be used by a purchaser independent of services controlled by the operator. So, and just before I go into that, it's like, yeah, if you say you're going to shut it down, you can't sell a copy that is the offline version at that point in time without having offered the things before. You know, if you say you're stepping away, you give them that and step away. You don't get to come back and release the offline edition for $20 or what have you after that. We don't have the time. I'll skip along. This section does not apply to any of the following. 1. Any subscription-based service that advertises or offers for sale access to any digital game solely for the duration of the subscription. So none of this applies to anything that was month-to-month, World of Warcraft, RuneScape, you know, anything like that where it's like you pay each month.
Sure.
2, a digital game that is advertised or offered to a person for no monetary consideration. Free-to-play game, you're off scot-free. This doesn't touch you. 3, any digital game that is advertised or offered to a person that the seller cannot revoke access to after the transaction, which includes making the digital game available at the time of purchase for permanent offline download or to an external storage source to be used without connection to the internet. If it's an offline-only game or a game that doesn't have to ping your servers to work, none of this applies to you either. So if it's a free-to-play game, if it is a month-to-month thing, or if it's something that never needed connection to the publisher in the first place to be played, purely like that, then you don't have to do anything. This only applies to games where the publisher can shut your game down remotely. And this is what you have to do if the publisher can shut your game off remotely. Nice guy. Any thoughts on that guy?
Yeah, I mean, two examples of games that I would give where this is super complicated, right? Red Dead Redemption 2, I think about that. Number 1, because it is a very, very, very vast single-player game, but also has a very, very vast multiplayer component. And they could actually be purchased separately. So I could see a dev making the argument, hey, I know the online is gone, but guess what? You can still play that single player. The single player is a part of the game, baby, so we don't want to compensate you for anything, right? The other thing that I think of is a game like Splinter Cell Blacklist, which, great game, had a really awesome Spies vs. Mercs mode back in 2012. Had a great co-op mode as well. Has since been shut down, but you can still purchase the single-player game on Steam and other storefronts, and there's a disclosure that says, hey, multiplayer and co-op features are no longer available. So the game is still playable, just not in its entirety. That's where there's some gray area.
Yeah. So I think, nice guy, while I don't think we have the time right now, I think it would be worthwhile for us to look at this in the context of like games like that and what we would advise for like an improvement perhaps to the language or like what gets us in the right way. And that might have to be something that we do in future episodes. Overall, though, we can see a couple spots where it's lacking, where there's spots where we might get into a little bit of struggle because not everything neatly maps. Thoughts overall on the general. Once again, we're not lawyers. We don't have legal advice.
Yeah. I just think that gray area is so significant in a world where we have games that are not just played in one way, where we have achievement systems that can never be completed because some of them have online achievements, right? Or co-op achievements and whatnot. So I think this is good, but I think that it needs some tweaking 100%.
Well, we look forward in California. We hope you are paying attention because Nice Guy has thoughts, as does Mac. And we're going to bring those to you for the next revision to Assembly Bill 1921. But overall, we like the general direction you're heading.
Yeah, 100%.
Just a couple of notes. And that's been Legalese for you today.
That has been Legalese, and that has been Two Nerds in a Pod, Mac. That was fun to talk about, man. That Legalese.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you all for taking the time to listen to us and hang out. We appreciate each and every one of you. Before we go, we have one last segment called What We've Been Watching and What We've Been Playing, where we talk about the cool, nerdy stuff we've been into across all platforms. Mac, what you been watching and playing, man?
So I watched the whole last season of The Boys.
What do you think?
It's not people are giving it grief and being like, this is Game of Thrones season 8 all over again. I disagree, although I mean, I don't think it stuck the landing too frightfully well. But I think that's more a function of the endeavor as a whole outlived its story arc. And I think that's whereas like it's impossible to stick the landing after you've stretched it out that many seasons. The Big Bang Theory, great example. That's pretty much all I've been watching aside from Project Hail Mary in the theaters. Playing though, Stardew Valley, Subnautica 1. I did get a copy of Subnautica 2, but I haven't fired it up yet. Getting my head back in the game, and a little bit of GURPS here and there. How about you, nice guy? What are you watching? What are you playing?
Dude, so it's funny. We actually started watching Project Hail Mary 2 today as a family. Got a buddy with a Plex server.
Nice.
We got Project Hail Mary on there, and we started watching that. NBA playoffs, obviously watching a lot of that. And then some YouTube, man. Always trying to learn new things. Like I said, I've been researching the AYN Thor a lot and trying to get this thing tweaked.
Yeah.
End game system. I think the one disadvantage of this is that it's not quite as powerful as the Steam Deck, but with PC streaming and whatnot, there's really nothing that I cannot play on this device. So it's been pretty sweet for 3DS emulation and stuff too. In terms of games that I have been playing, hopped back into Silksong a little bit. Played some Mario Kart with the kids today, and that was an absolute blast.
Nice.
And then in terms of like shooters, just a little bit of Battlefield. And the one newer game I've been playing, Replaced on Game Pass, that side-scrolling Deadlight Limbo style game. It's okay. It's okay so far. I don't know that it's worth the purchase if you don't have a Game Pass subscription. Mac, why don't you take us home, my friend?
All right, thanks everybody for being here, for being a part of the show here on episode, 379. It's been fantastic to have you, and we hope that you'll come visit, join us next time, and obviously if you want to be here for the live record, throw those nerdy trivia questions at us, ask us some questions as we're doing the show live, twitch.tv/2nerdsinapod, 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central on most Mondays, and until we see you next time, remember to be excellent to each other, and keep it nerdy. Bye.
Deuces. See ya.